Hello and welcome to another Build a Soil YouTube episode. Today, I'm going to be finishing up talking about the Tray to Grow. Last time you saw me set it up, and I've actually installed a whole bunch of seedling soil basically in here. And I've got two versions because to me, it's fun when I have a tray that's going to be automated watering. I want to see how the soils interact as far as wicking. I also want to learn a little bit about which ones germinate better because I'm not doing annual flowering vegetables like I normally do. And typically with annuals, you have a certain type of soil that's full of nutrients. They're going to be explosive with growth. Their whole life and death is in 1 year. They produce vegetables, they produce seed, they produce flower. But what we're doing is I'm going to be growing rare bonsai dwarf black grapes from seed, rare Rainier cherry grow indoors harvested in our US farm. So we'll see how those do. Who knows if any of these will even germinate. I don't have experience with them. I bought them on Etsy, but I'm really hoping. Either way, I'm gonna have fun using the tray. This is a rare dwarf guava. Got a whole bunch of seeds of that. And then we've also got the rare dwarf mandarin orange. And so I'm going to do 6 seeds of each of these. And then I'm gonna do one in our Heady Start seedling soil. So 1 row of each type of seed. And then another one in a new recipe that we're playing with. We may release it soon, but I'm doing a little more testing on it. And this is basically our permasoil. It's for perennials, for permanent plants. They're gonna be around your house forever. And part of the basis of this was to create something where you have more material that's not gonna break down over time. Not really, like bonsai uses almost no organic material. And that way you can have a tree living for 30, 40 years as a bonsai without the little bit of material decaying. When we have a house plant, it's similar. We don't want all of that peat and compost and everything to be decomposing, releasing tons of nutrients and shrinking because we want these plants to live for years. And we also want it to drain well and dry well so you never get root rot, but also hold the right amount of moisture and also wick. So this particular soil has a lot more pumice. It also has black lava rock. It also has biochar. It also has a lot of basalt acting like a sand, which helps with drainage and moisture holding. And while it's slightly heavier, I believe it's going to do much better as far as keeping plants happy without keeping them overly wet, if that makes sense. And so we're going to test that as well. But I'm just going to get started. I want to plant these seeds. I want to show you how the Tray to Grow works. And so if you haven't watched the last video, go check it out. Essentially this tray, it's got built-in levels so that I can see that it's level on all sides. It's got bamboo holders. And you can do an entire planter in here. We have a grassroots fabric bed that we custom made for this that you can get at buildasoil.com, and it holds more than 25 gallons of soil, and it has an automatic watering system built in, and that's called the Tray to Grow. You can see in the last video we set up the actual float valve that's right here, and today I want to hook it to the reservoir. And so what I'll do is remind you what it looks like by removing some of these. And so on the underneath, whether you put the seedlings directly on here, right, with these types of containers, or whether you have the planter tray in here, it's going to be operating off of a wicking function. So either the planter or the seedlings in here, you're still going to be wicking. And if you look here, there is a copper root blocker, and then there is this wicking mat. You can see down inside that I've tucked the wicking mat into the grooves in here, and you can see that in the previous video. So now when this reservoir floods with water, it's going to touch the wicking mat and pull moisture all across this bed. This will block the roots from growing in and clogging anything, and it'll allow moisture to automatically water right into here without having them saturated in water. It'll just be on a wicking mat, which I'm fascinated by. What I'd like to do is I'm going to set these back on here. I'm going to plant all the seeds. I'm going to inoculate them with Rootwise just to get everything started. And then I'm going to move it on the floor and actually hook up the reservoir. And I've got a flexi tank here. And this is a 6.6 gallon flexible reservoir. That's plenty for what I'm doing. I'm going to hook up another one of these in our other grow tent, and I'll be demonstrating that with a larger reservoir and probably multiples. But for now, all I need is this small reservoir. I want to show you how it hooks up. I've never hooked this particular one up. I've hooked up others from Autopot, but I just want to do it on camera so you can see what it looks like and how it works and how easy it is. And then what I thought I'd do is I would rotate these. And then this way I can do the side by side with the different types of soil kind of next to each other. Thought that would be a little easier. Then I can have all the same seeds instead of splitting them up. And then if you're wondering what these are the AC Infinity nursery pots. They come in like a 50 pack. And so when you pull them out, they just look like this. And essentially, instead of using the little plastic grow bags that are disposable, these are decomposable and they're woven, or they're like fabric material. And so they should wick a little bit better than the plastic, where it would have to only wick through the holes. And also, I really like them. I've been keeping some mom plants and these really small ones, and they've been healthy for a long time. I'm able to bottom water really easily with it. I can see the roots air prune and they grow out of there. So I feel like they'll work really good in this type of setup. So the Permasoil, I'm really excited to test out here and see how it does. I've got some blue tape and some Sharpie, and I'm going to go ahead and label these as I go. So the first one will be the Rare Bonsai Dwarf Black Grapes. And so I'm going to go ahead and put these in here, and I'm going to do 6 of them, and I'll get that started right now. First, what I want to do is label it. So I'm going to put this on the tray where I can see it. And now it's labeled, so that'll make it easy. I'll grab the grape seed. We've done lots of video on starting seed. Basic rule of thumb, without knowing everything about grape, I'm just going to take the size of the seed and I'm going to plant it about that deep, loosely cover it, make sure it's moist, and that's it. I'm also going to pick what looks like the juiciest, plumpest ones instead of the flat, like dehydrated looking ones. Now, because I've got so many seeds, I'm going to put 2 seeds of each just to make sure we have the maximum opportunity at seeing some sort of germination in here, as there's no germination guarantee. I didn't buy these from like a reputable distributor. They're just bought from Etsy. There we go. I'm putting them just off center. That way I can put 2 seeds near the middle in case only one pops. Then we can pick the strongest. And then all I do is I just push the seed in the soil and I tuck the soil around it so that it's barely, I don't want to make a hole and make it too deep where it struggles to germinate. Let me get a couple more seeds and we'll do these and we'll decide which one to do next. And then I'll get to the reservoir, which I'm really excited to hook up and see how this thing works. The seedling soil I really like a lot, but I also feel like it could hold maybe a little bit too much moisture for these type of seeds. That's partly why I think I want to test it. And also, the Permasoil, there's not much nutrition, just a tiny bit of worm castings in there and nothing else but gypsum. And so there's no chance of it, composting or over fertilizing the house plants, which I think will be a good addition here to these seedlings. We'll see. All right, so now I've got the Rare Dwarf Grape seeds planted. I've got them labeled. I do have a hose here and I'll use that to fill up the reservoir. But what I did is I filled up my Chapin sprayer and I put some Rootwise Microbe Complete. It's our favorite product. Not necessarily for trees as far as the type of mycorrhizae, but there's lots of other beneficial microbes in here. And so to me, inoculating this, when there is compost in here, we're just out competing with the beneficial that we like to see on healthy farms. And I add a small amount to the water. I've got about a gallon of water in here. I've shaken it up and I'm going ahead and just mist the top. And then the rest will just be bottom watering through the wicking function. But I want to make sure there's enough water in here to seal the soil around where I put the seeds in, and also make sure the seeds are moist so they can germinate. I'm going to go over them twice so that I can put enough water without like flooding them on the initial go. That should be good. There is a little bit of moisture in these already in the bottom. The top was getting slightly dry, so that's how I determined how much to water. You'll have to kind of choose as well. We just want to keep them moist without over watering. All right, let's move on to the next seeds. Let's do the cherry, and then I'll do the guava and I'll do the orange. I'm just going to label them all the way down the line right now. And then that way I can just power through this. We can move on to the next part. Man, it's starting to turn into a tropical tent. If any of these germinate, I will be very excited. And if they all germinate, then we have gifts, and I like that too. Cherry, let's see how many of these I have. I may not have enough to do double seeds, but I have enough to do 1 of each and 1 extra. So 1 will have 2. I'm going to list that I put 7 of these, and over here I'm going to list 12. Then I can remember, oh yeah, how many seeds of each did I plant? So there's 12 of those, and I did 7 of these. Okay, now let's get them all covered and tucked in so they're going to stay moist enough. Okay, I hope this works. This will be fun. Get those watered now. And then guava is next. Should have plenty of these seeds, so I can do 2 per. And then I'll list that one as 12 seeds as well. Also, if anybody sees something I could do to improve here, I'm not very good at the tropicals, but I'll take any advice you have. All right, and last is orange, and I have enough to do 7. So I'm going to list on here that these were 12, and here I'll list 7. All right, I hope they work. I'll put 2 in the first one, and then 1 in the rest in the center. All right, now we're ready to get onto the fun part, hooking up the reservoir, filling it with water. And then of course, I'll track back in the future when we're talking about the tropical tent, and I'll update you on the germination here and see how things are going. And then we're gonna be using the Tray to Grow in indoor grow here very soon and documenting it. Let's move this on the floor where I'm gonna use it. That way I can build the reservoir right here. Also, I got some Tulsi holy basil seeds because I tried to germinate some before and they're really old. And these are fresh seeds from Kid Kaya, so thank you for that. I'm gonna be germinating these very soon as well. I'll set it right here. You can easily set it on like a metal tray, like over here where I have some house plants. I could easily put it right here and just put the reservoir above it. Run the tube straight down. You could have multiple racks of them for doing microgreens. They're really versatile, but for today and for what I'm doing, I don't mind having them on the ground. I've got plenty of space. I don't need to be in here interacting a lot in this area. So that'll just make it easy for me to put the reservoir right on the ground. And since it's a one tray, I'm not using tons of water, it'll be very easy for me to keep up with the reservoir, even though I'm not gonna elevate it. So I'll need to keep it a little more full. But let's get it going. Table is a little bit dirty. Kind of had a mess because I was doing a whole bunch of seeds and we used this for a whole bunch of gardening. But it is what it is. I'd rather just shoot the video and get it going. So I've got my 6.6 gallon flexi tank. Makes it really easy to ship. Of course, you could just use a trash can. And so right away, what I want to do is let you know if you don't get a flexi tank and you just have like a Brute trash can or a 5-gallon bucket from Home Depot or whatever you have, you're going to get this little grommet that has a hole in it and it's rubber. And you can drill a hole and then this will seat perfectly in there. I don't want to give you the measurement right now because I don't want to mess it up, but Autopot will have the information, and you could look on our website. I'll try and go put this information in there, but essentially with a regular reservoir, you drill a hole and this just seats in there perfectly. And then you take the tube that it comes with and this goes into your reservoir, and that's it. It's watertight just like that. You can also push the tube a little bit further and put this filter on there on the end of your tube. So inside your bucket, you'd have this filter. If something falls in your reservoir because you have the lid off, this will stop it from going in the line. So they recommend putting this little filter on there. Alternatively, if you get a reservoir, I have a quick connect. That's gonna hook right to this tube once I put it on the floor. And then this is gonna hook to the reservoir. So I'm gonna leave it off for right now and show you how that works. Let's open up the flexi tank and see what we've got. Looks like instructions probably. The actual tank and the legs. This is the on-off, so you can shut the reservoir off and tend to your Autopot Tray to Grow, and then you can turn the reservoir back on. You could switch out reservoirs, whatever you need to do. Important, please read. Push the tap through the flexi tank, fitting the rubber washer as shown. A, fit the tap upside down, tightening as tight as you can by hand. Insert the poles, position in a smooth, flat surface half full with water. Twist the cap clockwise to the upright position. So essentially, they want you to install this on the reservoir upside down. Fill it with halfway with water in the location you're going to be doing it. They don't want you to move it when it has any water in it. Then, as a last attempt at tightening it, twist it to the upright position so you can on and off with a quarter turn. If you were to tighten it all the way and there's any leak, you don't have anything left, and you don't need to over tighten it on these rubber seals. So that's part of the conversation there. And then they mention A and A, so having a washer on each side. There are 2 rubber washers in here, and so they want to avoid you putting it on incorrectly like this. They want you to take the 2 washers, leave one on, put it through, put the other washer on, so now the inside of the reservoir is between the 2 rubber washers, and then tighten it, and that's how you get a watertight seal. And we're gonna do it right now. Only take a second. So we did the important, please read. Let's see what else we have. It just talks about the support poles, the assembly instructions. Obviously, if you get a 2,000 gallon, this will be a little bit of a different process, but for a small one, this is super easy. So we're gonna unfold it like they mentioned. It's got the measurements on there. It's a nice reservoir. It keeps the light out of here, keeps it a little bit insulated. So we're gonna do what I said before, and that is to remove one of the rubber washers. And then we're gonna find the hole for the reservoir, which is right in the front. We want that out. And it said anti-clockwise, so we're going to go anti-clockwise. And I'm gonna leave it upside down as it indicated. I'm gonna put the rubber washer on this side, and I'm gonna come through and put the cap on. And so it's really that easy to set it up. It shouldn't leak at all. All the stuff I've used from them has worked really well, so. Okay, Feels good. I'm not going to overdo it. I've got it upside down just as they had suggested. It looks like they're right here. Obviously, this won't fit in there, so I'm going to start this way. And it looks like that's going to be the legs and the support. That's really easy and nice. I like that. Cool. And Autopot, thank you, by the way, for sending this. A lot of times we just buy the material that we need and test it out. And Autopot was excited from our last run, and they really wanted us to try this Trait of Grow. So they sent it to us for free, and I think that was really cool. Help support our channel. There we go. Now we got the legs in, and I'm just going to leave it kind of funky until we get some water in there, and then I'll probably be able to stretch it out slightly nicer. But how cool is that? Ensure that the FlexiTank reservoir is placed on a flat and smooth surface to prevent damage to the plastic. Once full with water, twist the tap 90 degrees clockwise to the correct position. The FlexiTank reservoir comes with a 1-year guarantee covering manufacturing defects. Any misuse of the product is not covered. 1-year guarantee. Pretty cool. If you're unhappy with anything ever, we're here to help you. That's what Build a Soil is for. And we will answer your questions. We will give you a return, refund, replacement, whatever. We want to make sure you're totally stoked. So let's get this over here. It's going to be very easy for me to connect, and so I can really put it wherever I want. I need to be able to connect the tube, so let me show you how easy. It came like this from Autopot. It's a quick connect. So it's got just a little sleeve, and now it's connected. That's how easy it is. I can now connect it directly to this tube, which I can remove now via the quick connect. And their tubing is easy. It doesn't hurt the hands. It's very gentle. So now that's on there. I can leave it right here so it's easy for me to hit it with the hose. It's now connected to the reservoir there, so I'm gonna do it. Pretty cool. You can see where I tapped it in there. No leaks, looks good. You can see it's level. That's what we're looking for. Oh yeah, it's taking shape now that it's getting the water in there, and it's sitting into the legs, and it looks really nice. All right, so they said when it's half full, you can twist this into place. I had a tiny bit of leak there, and it was just from where I was messing with the quick connect before I turned the camera on. As soon as I tightened it, because I had loosened it, it was perfect again. So that's half full. I'm gonna go ahead and twist this so it tightens on here. There we go. So now it's all hooked up. I'm just gonna finish filling it. And now I wanna show you what it looks like one more time here. So now I'm filling it. I've got everything connected, and it's slowly filling right here. That's what we wanna see. Going down the channel, hit the wicking mat, and it's gonna water everything in here perfectly. We'll update you as we go. Wow, that's easy. Cool. All right, Trait of Grow is set up. And now we have seeds in it, and we're actually running it. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to give you feedback on it. Autopot, Trait of Grow, thank you for sending that. If you've got questions, drop them in here. Otherwise, that's the episode. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like, tell your friends about this stuff if you like it. And until next time, I'll see you on the next Build a Soil episode.